Alright guys, my drive shaft needs to be lubed. Let's get to it. What up YouTube? Today's going to be a fast one. I'm going to be lubing up the 2nd gen Tacoma. Got my really expensive but yet cheap grease gun here. Got some red and tacky, sorry, and a lock and loop adapter. These things are a lifesaver. Saves you a lot of time and hassle. Alright, so you got the Milwaukee grease gun. You want to change out this fitting. This fitting is extremely tough to get out. So what you can do is get yourself a box wrench, 17mm and a 14mm deep socket. Place this thing on the floor, get your foot on it, give yourself some nice leverage, and then just sock it away. Using pliers won't work. It's extremely tough. I tried it. Now this thing's loose. Time to put on that lock and lube. Alright, you got the lock and lube attachment hooked on. Got the 17mm open-ended side back on the hose nut. And then you got a 14 on the lock and lube. So you're going to need 2 hands here to try to tighten this thing up. Use your foot for leverage and keep on going until this thing is nice and tight. Alright, now that we've got everything hooked up, battery connected, fresh new red tacky grease in the canister, let's power this thing on to see if there's any leaks and if the grease will come out. Let's go. Perfect, look at that, nice and red. Now let's get underneath the Tacoma and pump some grease. Alright, before we do that, I just want to let you know how this thing works. So you turn it counterclockwise to loosen the nut, and then once you got this fitting coupler onto the nipple, then you do it clockwise to tighten it down, and it should lock in place to prevent this thing from flying off when you're pumping some grease. Alright, we're underneath the 2nd gen Tacoma. I'm going to show you where all these Zerk fittings are. That's that rear differential. There's a Zerk fitting in there. Got that greased up. I'm going to show you later. And this is the mid drive shaft right behind the carrier bearing. Apparently my car got a recall where they replaced the drive shaft. Also had this frame replaced under the recall. And the new drive shaft does not have a grease fitting on the middle U-joint. So if you aren't able to find one, that's probably why. You had a recall done and they had that drive shaft replaced. Alright, number 3 is right there. You can't see the Zerk fitting, but you're just gonna have to look for it. Use your hand to look for it. It's there. And there's another one right there in front of the transfer case. And let me pause here and show you the first one. Alright, this frontmost Zerk fitting is a little bit of a pain in the ass. The 90° didn't fit, so I had to use the regular lock and lube fitting. You're gonna have to use 2 hands, one hand to hold the nozzle down, because this thing's not gonna fly off, because this joint right here is blocking the way, so it's gonna be sitting off at an angle, so it won't be able to lock in place. So you're gonna have to force your hand to put pressure on it so it doesn't fly off. And the other hand, you'll be using it on the Milwaukee grease gun trigger to pump the grease in. But overall, after a few seconds, it's done. You can see the grease overflowing from the joints on the side. So this thing is done, thankfully. This is the most pain part of the whole thing. So once you get this done, you're all set. And yeah, take a nice little break. Alright, one of the benefits that I like about this lock and lube 90° fitting is that nut comes off and it's easy to clean out whatever crud that's in there. So make sure you don't contaminate your grease every time you lube up your fittings. So that's a plus here. So once you're done with everything, I suggest you guys check this grease gun out. I have a link in the description for Amazon with the fitting, with the nozzle as well. And hope you guys have an easier time greasing your fittings. See you later.